What's up guys, welcome back to this new video. Today I'm gonna show you how to design and print this hoodie here, which I made since I had an upcoming trip to Iceland, and so I wanted to have something cool to wear during my trip. In today's video I'm gonna show you a backstage into how I created the hoodie, from the designing of the graphic to the printing of it, and even a bit of the photo shoot. Thanks Streetwear Studios for the blanks. Now let's jump in Photoshop. Here we are, all together gathered in Photoshop. So initially this design was meant for a world image, not for the image of Iceland, but since I needed to just create a design with something related to Iceland, then I decided to use this design here. So what I did is that I chose this college font at the top, and then at the bottom this really nice curly font here. So the top font is called actually college, so if you want to find it, just Google college font and you should find it without any problem. And instead for the bottom one, I can't remember, but if you look at the top left, you'll see the font. So now what I did is that I applied a gradient map over the image of Iceland on top of a threshold effect. The threshold effect will convert all the colors of the image of the Iceland into, and then with the gradient I just add the colors which I want to use. In this case I will print it using two methods, well, one method which I don't think anyone is using, and is called, like, I like to call it the overlapping method, in which I will just need to print two vinyls over each other. You'll see afterwards what I mean. But now let's concentrate on the design. So now I wanted to add some sort of text which acted as a sort of history of Iceland. So I started afterwards searching for the history of Iceland and why the name of Iceland is Iceland and not other ones, since, you know, Iceland sounds of course related to ice, related to land, and so I just wanted to add a little bit of history inside the design. Now I was just playing around with a sphere, since my brand name is called, as you can see, Global Mind Studios, and so maybe I just wanted to add some sort of other elements which were more related towards like my brand, more than like Iceland. So firstly I messed around with spheres, now I'm messing around with stars. But honestly, I don't know if I want to keep the stars, since I think the design itself, without anything, it's pretty nice. So what I did next is that I wanted to find some other sort of designs and images to place over the main one. And as you can see, I think I was getting somewhere, but I decided to just call it a day and remove all the extra elements added over Iceland. So here we are in Google Chrome, and I was just searching for the history of Iceland. As I said before, I decided to just copy and paste a history definition of the name of Iceland, and I really liked that type of definition. And then what I wanted to include instead of the mind text at the bottom was the actual name in Icelandic of Iceland, since Iceland is the translated name and I wanted the original one. And I found out that it was Iceland. So I just firstly grouped the history of Iceland in a text box, and then I just messed around with other elements just to create some sort of new layout, but then I don't think I decided to keep it. So as you can see, I just copied and pasted the definition, and then here I'm even pasting the actual name in Icelandic of Iceland. And afterwards I wanted to add some sort of landmark in Iceland. So when I went there, I saw this church, this really big church, but then I decided to just maybe use some Icelandic flags or stuff like that. But then I decided to just remove even this flag here. The thing is though that afterwards I will print a patch of the flag on the side of the hoodie, so I don't think it's necessary to add it even here. Afterwards I just copied the elements that I made so far and just plugged them in with the other text, and as you can see it's not getting very good. So I just decided to cancel it and trying to put it all together in another way. So as you can see, what I did next is that I added the final design on a mock-up, on the mock-up of the Labware Studios blanks, and as you can see, they're pretty fire. Unfortunately, the next part for this design production, I didn't actually record it, but what I did is that I changed the mind bottom text with just the word Iceland in Icelandic, and then I just put everything together. So now it's time to print it. Here we are in the real world. So the first thing that I did was to actually cut the vinyl. I started with the orange one since I like the color the most, and even the design was a little bit more difficult to print, so I started with the hardest. So the first thing that I did was to just see if the cutter was cutting as I planned, and then I just clicked enter and the print was underway. Then I removed all the excess vinyl and did the same thing for the white vinyl. And as you can see, then I started placing the white vinyl on top of the hoodie first, and then I just heat pressed it for 30 seconds. Afterwards, 30 seconds, it was really nice, and I added the first orange overlapping technique. So I basically added orange vinyl on top, and then I just completed it by adding some subtle elements all over the hoodie. I started so by heat pressing the hood so that I could place the star, as you can see, the orange star, and then I just pressed it as hard as I could. Then I added the patch of the Icelandic flag, and I think I made a good job. So here's the final result with the amazing photo shoot, and here's the backstage of the photo shoot. Pretty nice, huh? Anyways, subscribe and bye bye.